AITA for telling my boss that I wasn't invited to the party. I, 26F, started this new job a few months ago, and honestly, I was pretty excited about it. I've been looking for a new position for a while, and everything seemed to be going great. The people seemed nice, the work was interesting, and I felt like I was finally getting my footing. But as time went on, I began to realize that things weren't as simple as they seemed. One of my colleagues, Marie, who I hadn't really spoken to much, but was friendly with in passing, was getting married in the next couple of months. I overheard a lot of conversations around the office about her wedding, and it seemed like the entire office was going. I didn't think anything of it at first. After all, I'm new here, and I completely understand that people don't just invite everyone to weddings, especially when they haven't had a chance to build a relationship with someone. I never expected an invite. Weddings are a big deal, they're planned in advance, and Marie and I hadn't even been working together for that long. But as time went on, I started noticing something a little strange. It was like everyone in the office was talking about the wedding, and there was this subtle tension around me. I could sense that Marie might be feeling a bit awkward, maybe even wondering if I was expecting an invite, but I try not to make it a big deal. I didn't need to be invited to the wedding, and I wasn't bothered by it in the least. In fact, my close friend had just gotten married, and I had been heavily involved in the process of planning her wedding, so I really understood how hectic it can get. I never made a fuss about it. I felt comfortable with the situation, and honestly, I wasn't the type of person to make waves or bring up feelings of exclusion if they weren't there. If anything, I felt more excited for Marie and her big day. But deep down, there was this lingering thought. What if she's wondering if I feel left out? Then one day, I got CC'd on an email that completely threw me off. The email was from Joan, one of my other coworkers, and it was about a bridal shower that was being organized for Marie. I was a bit shocked when I saw it. The shower was happening during our lunch hour in the break room, and they were asking everyone to chip in for a group gift, cash of course, and suggested we all bring something to the potluck. Joan had even included her Venmo info, which felt pretty informal, but hey, I figured it was just a casual office thing. At first, I thought, okay, this is cool, I'll contribute. Even though I wasn't invited to the wedding, I wanted to show my support for Marie. After all, even though we weren't close, it felt like the right thing to do. So, I sent over $20 via Venmo and replied to the email saying I would bring lasagna. No big deal. I didn't think anything more of it. But then things took a strange turn. A couple of hours later, Joan came to my desk. She had this kind of awkward expression on her face, and I could immediately tell something was off. She didn't sit down, just kind of hovered at my desk, looking uncomfortable. She said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that you don't need to contribute to the shower." I was a little thrown off. I mean, why had she even asked for contributions in the first place if I wasn't supposed to participate? But I stayed calm and tried to be polite. "I don't mind contributing, though," I said. "I still want to give Marie something, even though I'm not invited to the wedding." Joan seemed really uncomfortable, and after a long pause, she said, "Well, you're not invited to the shower either." I was stunned. My heart sank. I mean, what was going on? I didn't know how to respond. I tried to keep my voice steady and said, "Wait, I can't go to the break room during lunch? I'm not invited to the party." I felt like I was in some kind of surreal situation. Joan said, "No, you're not invited to the shower." I was honestly baffled at this point. "Why? What did I do?" I asked. I wasn't angry, but I could feel my face flushing. I mean, I hadn't done anything to offend anyone, had I? Joan hesitated again, and it was clear she wasn't sure how to handle the situation. Eventually, she said, "Marie doesn't want you to get your hopes up about the wedding. She doesn't want you to feel like you're invited, you know?" I nodded. I tried to stay composed. I completely understood. We had just met, and Marie and I weren't close at all. I wasn't mad or upset. I really wasn't, but it did sting a little. It was the first time I had felt genuinely excluded in the office, and I wasn't sure how to handle that feeling. Still, I tried to reassure Joan that I wasn't bothered by it. "I understand," I said. "I get it. I've only been here a short time, so it's totally fine." But the whole thing left me feeling unsettled. I couldn't help but think, was I being too sensitive? Was I overreacting? But then I realized it wasn't even about me being upset about not being invited to the wedding. It was about being left out of something that was happening within the office. People were all gathering together, and I was just going to be left out. It felt wrong. The day of the shower, I sat at my desk alone while everyone else went to the break room to celebrate. I had no idea what to do with myself. I didn't want to appear like I was bothered, but I felt this awkward, uncomfortable weight pressing down on me. It was like I was invisible, sitting there eating my lunch alone while everyone else was having a good time just a few feet away. One of my coworkers, who I barely knew, came over and snuck me a piece of cake. She said something along the lines of, "Hey, I thought you might want a piece." It was sweet, and I appreciated the gesture, but it didn't really fix how I was feeling. As the party went on, I just sat there. I didn't know what to do. I tried to focus on my work, but it was hard to ignore the laughter and chatter coming from the break room. I felt so out of place, like an outsider in a place where I was supposed to belong. Then, in the middle of the party, the big boss walked in. I didn't expect her to be there, She's usually off on Fridays, but there she was. She noticed me sitting at my desk, and for a moment, I thought she would just ignore me. But instead, she walked up to me and asked, "Why aren't you at the party?" I wasn't sure how to respond. I'd been trying to keep it together, not wanting to make a scene, but at that moment, I couldn't hide how I felt anymore. I told her I wasn't invited. She looked at me with a mixture of surprise and concern. "What do you mean? You're not invited?" I nodded. "No, I'm not. I wasn't invited to the shower. I wasn't invited to the wedding." The big boss seemed to be genuinely taken aback. She didn't say anything for a moment, but her face seemed to harden. "I'll look into this," she said and walked away. Later that day, I found out that the big boss had sent an email banning office parties during work hours. It was clear that she wasn't happy with how things were handled. I didn't think anything more of it, but then things started to change. Joan and Marie realized that I was the one who told the big boss what had happened. Suddenly, I felt like the target. They both started avoiding me in the office, and some of my other coworkers started acting cold toward me too. I felt like I had done something wrong, like I had somehow ruined the fun for everyone else. But at the same time, I couldn't help but feel like I had just been honest about a situation that had hurt me. Some of my friends, when I told them about what had happened, said that I was in the wrong. They told me I should have just lied to the big boss and said I was too busy with work to attend the party. They said I should have kept quiet and let everyone else enjoy their time together. But I couldn't bring myself to do that. The situation just didn't sit right with me. I felt like I'd been left out for no good reason, and that wasn't something I could just ignore. So now I'm left wondering, AITA for telling my boss the truth about not being invited to the shower? Should I have lied and kept things to myself? Or did I have every right to speak up?